You are listening to the Ex-Girlfriend Tattoo Podcast.
Howdy, I'm Austin Larson, and you're listening to the Ex-Girlfriend Tattoo Podcast. Thanks for joining me today for this episode of the program. I'm joined by my guest, the one and only Mr. Caleb Cashew.
What's up, Austin?
Hey, Caleb, thanks so much for joining me today. All right, let's see. So you're a tattoo artist out of Black Omen Tattoo out of Las Vegas, correct?
That's correct.
Awesome, well thank you. And on top of tattooing out of Black Omen, you're also the owner-operator of the shop, right?
Yep. We started back in 2016, so we've been here a little over 4 years.
Hell yeah, man. All right, so you've had the shop since 2016. How long have you been tattooing professionally?
Oh, man. I think 14 years now. I started when I was 20, so 34 now. Yeah, so about 14 years, a little over.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Okay, so you're a younger guy with a lot of experience under your belt. There you go. Kind of a double whammy right there.
Yeah, try to be these kids nowadays, though, man. They've been tattooing like a year, and they're blasting out crazy stuff, so.
It's nuts, man. Seriously. Growing up, were you considered artistic?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. And through high school and middle school, I took all the art classes I could. Actually, kind of surprising that I graduated because most of the time I was just doodling in sketchbooks and things like that.
I completely get it, man. You know, what was it, Mark Twain who said, don't let school get in the way of your education?
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good quote.
Right. Well, hey, he was a smart dude. So we kind of talked about it a little bit before we started recording here, but so your shop's in Vegas. You've been tattooing in Vegas. Are you from the area originally?
No, I'm from Grants Pass, Oregon, so a little bit further west. I didn't tattoo out there. In Oregon, you have to go to a tech school up in Portland for a while. But I moved to Tennessee in, I think, 2006, and that's where I started tattooing. I tattooed over there next to Fort Campbell for about 8 years, and then moved over here to Vegas in 2013. And worked in a few of the shops in the casinos and down on Fremont Street before opening this one.
Oh, damn. So you've been kind of everywhere. You said you started in Tennessee?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct.
Nice. So just curious, what brought you out to Vegas from Tennessee?
I went to school in Colorado for a little while as well. So yeah, everywhere, right? Went to school in Colorado at a tech college out there for graphic design for just a little bit, not very long. And then ended up going to Tennessee. And after being in Tennessee for a while, I was like, man, I really like Colorado. Maybe I'll go back there. And my brother's in the military and he got orders to come out to Vegas. So he's like, why don't you just come to Vegas with me? It'll be closer. And then if you want to go to Colorado, you know, it's a lot closer drive than driving all the way from Tennessee over there by myself.
Yeah. When you were growing up, since you were kind of considered artistic, that type of thing, did you ever see yourself doing art professionally?
No, I don't think so. I actually wanted to be a musician when I was young. Well, when I was really, really young, I wanted to be a cartoonist. And then that's kind of what led to the graphic design part of it. But then after that, I really wanted to be a musician. And that's originally what took me out to Tennessee after going to school for art. I was playing with some guys that I used to play in a band with in Oregon. We all moved out to Tennessee because the music scene's better out there. And then I ended up falling into tattooing. And since, you know, that's a lucrative way to do a hobby and pay all your bills and everything, that kind of took over. And I just kind of dropped out of trying to make it as a musician.
I mean, still one passion to the other, you know? I mean, my God, going from music to tattoos, I feel like a lot of people have, you know, kind of discovered, you know, it's like one art form to another, so.
Yeah, it seems like it all goes along with mathematics, art, and music. They're definitely similar.
Definitely a lot of skill and discipline required in both, you know?
Yeah.
How'd you first get involved with the tattoo industry?
Prison, but no, I'm joking.
You got me.
Okay. I was going in to a tattoo shop in Clarksville where my brother had been getting tattooed because he was in Tennessee for a while before we got out there with the band being military. And went in and talked to one of the artists there about starting a sleeve. And we ended up just kind of spitballing ideas back and forth. And he asked me my background in art. And I told him about going to school in Colorado and everything. And he's like, have you ever thought about tattooing? I was like, yeah, I did in Oregon, but I wasn't going to pay to go to a tech school there, which doesn't really make sense since I paid to go to a school in Colorado. But anyways, so he's like, hey, I mean, I'll offer you a job if your art's good, bring some in and show me. And then I showed him my stuff and just kind of fell into an apprenticeship like that, like really lucked out. I know a lot of people kind of have a hard time finding a shop that will take them on and treat them anywhere close to a human being, you know. I just lucked out, fell into it. I guess it was by the luck of my brother being tattooed by that artist, so they kind of already had a bond.
Now that we are kind of just talking about tattoos and your career and that, generally speaking, do you have a preference for rotary over traditional coil over rotary, that type of thing?
I used to think that I was loyal to the coil and strictly coil, and a lot of my friends, they're like, hey, try this rotary, try this swash drive, try this. And everyone I tried, I was like, no, I don't like it. Like, it doesn't work with the way that I'm used to tattooing and the way that I tattoo. And then one of my friends brought in an inkjecta, and I didn't try it for lining. I tried it for just packing some large areas of black with a large mag. And I was like, maybe I need to give this thing a shot. And I tried it a few more times, and now I pretty much only use that now. I mean, I definitely wouldn't say that I'm like strictly, hey, you should use this. This is the best thing out there or anything like that. But it works for me and it's the most convenient. I feel like being productive is more important than being strict on, oh, I only use this thing because it's what I was taught on or anything like that.
I hear that. Versatility is important, you know?
Yeah, you've got a bunch of tattoos because you're a collector. Do you feel like you notice a difference being tattooed or the healing process with one or the other?
Honestly, I felt that definitely with a coil machine, you feel more of the vibration, so I don't know if that makes it better or worse. It kind of depends on whether it's being lined or shaded. But I've noticed in my own experiences that rotary tends to be a little bit easier on the skin, and I don't swell up as bad, and I don't get as torn up, if that makes sense.
A little less trauma.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed with a rotary versus a coil, at least, on my own skin.
Yeah. It's the weight of the coil pushing into your skin, you know?
No, yeah, definitely. I would feel that.
Heavy-handed.
Right, definitely. If he's heavy-handed, and then of course, I don't know, I think that also just the psychological aspect of hearing that coil, it always sounds like a fucking dentist drill to me.
Yeah, that was another thing for me, honestly, was just the noise in my ears and everything. And after, I think I switched over to the inkjecta maybe 2 years ago. So after like 12 years of coils, I was kind of ready for a break, you know, less headaches. And also it's a lot lighter, which is nice. So hands are getting older and weaker.
I mean, yeah, a lot of those old school coil machines, it sounds like there's a fucking like Harley right there in the hand. It's
Yep. Yeah, when we're here working and a couple of us are using rotaries and then someone starts a coil, we're like, holy shit, man. Who turned on the lawnmower?
Exactly. All right. And then since you were kind of talking about the hands getting older, that type of thing, have you ever personally had to tattoo with an injured hand, finger, arm, wrist, anything of that nature?
Nothing too major. A little bit, they call it Dequaerbine Syndrome, I believe is what it's called. And it's a tendinitis in the thumb. You have like a bracelet of tendons that hold all the tendons of your hands down, and if that one swells up because of how much you use your thumb, it's kind of hard to get rid of that swelling. I had that for a while, and it's a kind of specific motion that makes that hurt really bad, but I don't know, I don't remember how much it hindered my tattooing. I don't think it was too much though. It was more like carrying things and other things like that. Luckily, it wasn't on my stretching hand. I think if it was on my stretching hand, it would have been a lot worse.
Ooh, that would have been bad. But I guess kind of segueing into that, what are some other hidden health consequences for tattoo artists, tattooers that people don't know about as much?
You sit in weird everybody's like, oh, it's not a physical job. It can't be that hard on your body or anything like that. But you sit in odd positions for a very long time, having your neck cranked sideways. Also, because to tattoo properly, you have to stretch the skin, or you should stretch the skin anyways. So you're constantly pushing with your non-dominant hand. And because of that, you can build muscle pinches in your rhomboids and in your shoulders and your traps and everything. Definitely carpal tunnel is huge. And certain types of tendonitis, like I said, lower back problems from sitting. And also kind of something a lot of people don't think about. Those are all like very physical things that you can see. But when you have a long day of tattooing and you don't have much time between appointments, it's pretty likely that you're just going to scarf some garbage food really fast. So eating poor nutrition as fast as you can is definitely a health problem in our industry. And I mean, you do see it a lot. A lot of artists are a little bit overweight, if not a lot overweight, and it's from spending time being immobile and just eating poorly and everything. Yeah, I would say those are the major ones. So I try to get up and stretch, and then my wife luckily makes food for me pretty often, so try to avoid eating garbage as much as possible.
Well, there you go. And I think that's an excellent point about how important diet really is to your overall health. I mean, I'm guilty of kind of, just if I'm in a hurry or something, just get some fast food, something that'll fill you up, So, but I mean, thank you. That is in a lot of fields, but I mean, tattooing is one that people usually don't think about it. So,
yeah.
All right. And
sorry, I was going to say, it's not like construction, we're not like lifting heavy things and breaking our back, but we are in odd positions for a long period of time. And I mean, anybody who's had a longer session in a tattoo, I'm sure they can attest for how uncomfortable you can get just sitting there getting a tattoo.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's, and then the next day recovering, from a longer session like that, I completely understand. In an average week, how much time would you say you spend tattooing versus drawing for clients?
Definitely more time tattooing. Absolutely. I don't know that I could throw out like an hour ratio, but I would say probably a 70-30 split at least. Especially Vegas, a lot of this stuff is kind of people come in with the design they already want, so that doesn't really take up a lot of time to just re-render on Procreate or something like that and knock it out. But my customers who want bigger pieces, who I'm doing like sleeves and back pieces or leg sleeves on, anything like that, those are the ones that definitely take up the majority of the drawing time comparatively to how long it takes to tattoo a full sleeve as it does to drawing it. It's a lot less, obviously. So yeah, I would say about a 70-30 split, somewhere around there. It just depends on how booked up I am for the week or the month. If I'm pretty open and I'm just taking walk-ins, it's more than likely, like I said, people are just bringing in stuff that they already have found that they like, or they want a name on them, or they're in Vegas. Like we do a lot of King and Queen of Hearts, just the K in the heart or the Q in the heart. That's popular. Poker chips or just little memorabilia stuff.
When in Vegas, you got to get the tattoo, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So just since you've been tattooing for a long time, in Vegas for the past 10 years, you said, or a little bit more, right?
Since 2013.
Excuse me. Okay, so about 7 years. All right. What are some of the funny some of the more memorable client stories you've had from your career? Vegas
is kind of a different animal. And like I said, I worked down on Fremont Street for about a year or so, and it's definitely wild down there, especially pre-COVID and everything, when it was just constantly nut to butt on the weekends down there. And one time, actually, literally, middle of the day, I don't know, it was probably noon, 1 o'clock. Fremont Street was pretty empty, and there's permanent trash cans kind of stacked throughout the middle of under the Fremont Experience, and there's two dudes straight going anal on a trash can midday, dude. It was insane. Like, just right there, out in the open, going at it. Fucking crazy. But in the shop, I mean, it was upstairs, so we were kind of like, hey, if you can make it up the stairs, you can get tattooed. You know, it's Vegas, so the laws are a little bit, people overlook the drinking thing a little bit more, obviously.
Huh?
But yeah, there's plenty of times girls are like, and I think this is typical of a lot of tattoo shops, but like, you know, we'll get, if you do the tattoo for discount, we'll get it topless or whatever like that. So that kind of crazy stuff. And then the homeless people out there and just all over in Vegas are nuts, man, out here. It's getting wild sometimes with the homeless people, just like shitting on whatever they want whenever they want.
We have those in Spokane like, too. I feel you, man.
Yeah, definitely. Or like just sleeping like half naked in front of the shop and shooting up like right around the corner, and you know that's just I don't necessarily relate that directly to tattooing, but definitely Vegas, you know, it's crazy like that. As far as tattooing, I mean, if you're be like craziest tattoo, that type of stuff, you know, we've done all sorts of stuff. Dick tattoos, ass tattoos on like 60-year-old dudes, all of it really. So, you know, I don't specialize in like butthole tattoos or anything like that, so I don't get quite that weird, but it definitely happens out here.
No, I bet. I'm sure that you've had some clients, especially since you did kind of mention that a lot of the drinking, that thing kind of gets overlooked. I bet you've had at least a couple freakouts in the chair, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Plenty of people vomit while getting tattooed. I don't know if that's alcohol related or not, but I've definitely seen more of it out here than I did when I was tattooing in Tennessee for 8 years. One time when I was tattooing in Tennessee, though, I was working in Nashville at a shop down on Broadway that's no longer there. But I had a client, and he was getting this tiny little cross on his back, maybe like an inch tall, and I did 2 lines, and he was straddling a chair. He's like, I don't feel very well. He was there with his girlfriend. I could tell that he was going to pass out. So I was like, I told his girlfriend or wife, I was like, just make sure he doesn't fall out of the chair. I'm going to run and grab him some water and a piece of candy or something, get his blood sugar up. So I get up and I come back, and he's straddling a chair, so his head's down on his arms on the chair, and she's like, he passed out, he's okay, but he pissed himself, so just everywhere. I was like, man, I don't know if it was his wife or girlfriend or whatever, but whoever was with him, I was like, man, that's embarrassing for him. That's a real bummer. Yeah. Hope it's not like their first date or something.
Oh my!
Burn that one, but yeah, I mean, really, the wildness is definitely the people who aren't always in the tattoo shop, you know, out on the streets or right outside of it.
How do you feel about scratchers? I guess kind of a dumb question the way I worded it, but, you know, just the people who figure, oh, you know, I can draw pretty well, you know, I'm just getting started out. I don't want to go through all the, you know, I mean, all the trouble of getting an apprenticeship, that type of thing. So you just go on Amazon Prime and you get the tattoo kit mailed to your house for like $50 and you start tattooing your buddies. That type of thing.
Yeah, that's a pretty controversial topic. You know, it was, like I said, I was in Oregon and all my friends wanted me to tattoo them. So I actually did take that route when I was in Oregon. I didn't do very many tattoos, and I tried to get some information before doing it. Did one on myself first and everything. Obviously, I didn't know nearly what you need to know to tattoo. That's for sure, with cross-contamination and knowing about bloodborne pathogens and all that stuff. So I was very fortunate nothing ever happened. That's a tough topic because it seems like a lot of people who are in this industry, they do put it so high on a pedestal, which is not a bad thing. I think that tattooing is a very special thing, and it should be meaningful, and the people in the industry, it should mean something to them. But a lot of these people, when kids come in and they want to apprentice or something like that, everybody's such an asshole to them, and they're like, well, you got to be tough to be in this industry and everything else. but it's like you're not even giving people with artistic abilities a chance to find out if they should be in this industry. Like you're just constantly shutting them down, or just hazing them to hell. So of course a lot of people are going to take that route of, hey, I can buy tattoo equipment online and I've got plenty of friends who want tattoos. I'm artistic. I'm going to go that route because all these people in the industry are complete dickheads to me. So why do I even want to be around them? I don't need them all. And now it's like, hey, you watch YouTube videos, and there's even tattoo artists who offer online courses and stuff. So there's a lot of ways to get around not having an apprenticeship. Does that mean that I think that an apprenticeship is not important? That's definitely not true. I think an apprenticeship is very important because you're going to learn about the health aspects of it, keeping everything sterile, not cross-contaminating, just proper. There's so much more you can learn hands-on than you could ever learn from reading or seeing in a video or anything like that. So I think that an apprenticeship, or just some mentor going in and getting tattooed, and not being up the artist's ass about it, but like if you're curious about it, maybe ask a couple questions. Like there's usually always that small talk with people who are interested in this industry. Like, how do you get into this? What's it like being a tattoo artist? Is it hard to do? If I'm good at drawing, am I going to be a good tattoo artist? And all those variables, they depend on each case, really. But yeah, that's a tough one because I guess you could say I started out as a scratcher. Like I said, I did a couple tattoos on myself, a couple on my friends, and they didn't turn out well because I didn't know anything about the technique of tattooing or even properly applying a stencil. So I kind of gave up because I was like, well, I'm not going to go to Portland and pay to go to a college, and I'm playing in a band now and I want to do music. So it was like a fun idea, but no thanks. And then after going to Tennessee and falling into it, I was real excited about tattooing, but I was also glad that I didn't continue as a scratcher trying to learn it all on my own, because there's some things that you just can't really learn, or if you did, it's going to take a really long time without someone showing you the proper way. I feel partially that they're kind of justified. I don't think that it's a good thing for the industry or anything, but also at the same time, I partially understand where they could be coming from, or their point of, hey, I'm going to do this. No one wants to teach me. Nobody wants me around. And maybe some of those people shouldn't be in the industry. There's plenty of them who shouldn't. But I also can kind of understand that feeling. Absolutely, I feel that it's more important to get an apprenticeship, but that can be difficult to do. I think if I had any advice for anybody who's not a professional tattooer listening to this podcast, it would be, just because one shop turns you down, that doesn't mean that they're all going to turn you down. And before you start tattooing, draw your ass off. And don't just think because your friends think that you're good at drawing, or your parents think you're good at drawing, that you are. Like, that's not how it works. It's like people who go on whatever American Idol shows or whatever, and they're like, oh, all my family thinks I'm great in karaoke, and then they get up there and they're absolutely horrible. Like, the people who are around you are, of course, going to think that you're good at it. So when you come into the actual industry, you got to have your chops up for sure. Definitely.
Excellent take, man. Thank you. I mean, I guess I had never really thought, that, yeah, in an industry that is, I guess not necessarily harsh on newcomers, but I mean, is very big on tradition and kind of, vetting that. I don't want to say hazing, but I mean, yeah, there's some hazing involved, from a lot of stories I've heard.
There's some hazing involved. Yeah.
But yeah, you do bring up a good point that people who, want to learn, sometimes they're just not given the opportunity. So, I mean, and there's, okay, I definitely understand that. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's a bummer because you definitely do have to have a little bit thicker skin to be in this industry and deal with some of the stuff that you have to deal with. Yeah, some of the snowflakes out there, this isn't the place for them, unfortunately. But that's not to say that they couldn't be a great tattoo artist or that they couldn't grow to become a good tattoo artist and also develop the personality specific for this job environment. But like I said, they maybe just need to find the correct shop that's willing to help them grow like that.
Thank you. All right, and then since we're living in the year 2020 where everything's kind of gone to shit, I know that up here, a lot of tattoo shops, hair salons, that type of thing, all had to close for a little bit just because of, kind of the state government mandate. So real quickly, just how did the whole initial COVID shutdown impact your shop and I guess just tattooing in Nevada in general?
We said, fuck that, we're a pirate ship, we're tattooing. No, I'm joking. We were shut down actually, we closed before they did a mandatory close. We closed after Friday the 13th in March. And then we were closed until June 9th was the reopen date. And those 2 months definitely hurt us, set us back a ways for sure, because in tattooing, it's not a regular job. There's no retirement. There's no 401k. We don't have health insurance unless we pay for it, all that stuff. So that definitely hurt. Coming back into it after the shutdown and everything, this shop, we're like right under 800 square feet, I think. So it's not a real big shop, but we made a barrier from the lobby to the tattoo area. Masks are mandatory, of course. Tattoo shops are great anyways because they're already pretty sanitary places as long as everybody's doing what they should be doing. But, now we just sanitize more, clean the lobby more, wipe the door handles more, clean all the pins more. We don't give people clipboards with a bunch of paperwork stacked on it, just give them one piece of paperwork, that type of thing. So it's been a little different coming back, but I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing completely. If you can see the good in being more sterile, which that's always better. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I mean, we are doing a procedure that's invasive and we're right next to the person. So honestly, wearing a mask is probably a wiser decision for all parties involved.
No, definitely. I mean, like you said earlier, tattoo shops are always, already so fucking clean that it's been a little reassuring going back into the tattoo shops because at least I know that's one place that was, sanitary enough to have a minor invasive surgical procedure there to begin with. So, I mean, it's like, how do you get cleaner than that? Your shop, Black Omen, that's not going to be yours for much longer, right?
That's the plan. Really the plan, which is... It's crazy to think about. This is the first shop I've ever owned, and we put a lot of work into making this place. Like I said, it's not real big. It's a little under 800 square feet, but we put a lot of work into packing the character into this place and making it something that where every time a person comes in, or even like when I have someone who's been coming in for sessions, I'll be working on them and they'll be like, oh, I've never seen that before. Oh, is that new? Oh, you guys changed this. Oh, I really like that, so it's a cool place. Like, I'm glad to call this place home. But yeah, unfortunately, the plan is for it to no longer be mine, which is sad and exciting at the same time.
So if I'm understanding correctly, your website, winatattooshop.com, you're selling you and it's another artist, right, in the shop?
Yes. Yeah, it's me and my main dude, Nick. You want to scope his Instagram, I'll give him a little plug here. It's just at Nick Tattoos, N-I-C, there's no K in his name. He's actually up by you right now. He's up in Seattle.
Oh, hell yeah.
Doing some work up there, and he's working on, him and another guy, Raider, they're working on a rap album right now. So they're doing some recording up there.
Oh, shit.
I've heard some of it. It's pretty fucking good, man. I was impressed. I was like, why are you tattooing, bro? Like, get out of here.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so it's some of his artwork and some of mine. And on the website, there's prints. There's 24 prints in total. I think it's about a 12 and 12 split. All the traditional stuff, that's all Nick's. All the stuff that looks more flashy, that's all Nick's. My stuff is a little bit more comic booky, I guess. A little more illustrative, but yeah, so it's both of ours on there.
No, that's awesome. And then I think you said that you're raffling off 2021 prints, right?
Well, not exactly. So some people have a little bit of confusion about this, so I'll clarify it too. The prints are for sale, and the raffle date is July 21st of next year, so July 21, 2021. And the prints are for sale, an infinite amount of prints. And with each print comes a golden ticket. All the tickets are numbered. You can buy as many as you want. Get that up your chance of winning the shop. I set a number on there. Everybody's like, are you going to have a reserve? What if you don't sell enough prints and all this other stuff? I have enough faith in people's excitement to win something major like this, and this being such a big deal. I don't think I'm going to have a problem with having a minimum. And if it doesn't make a bunch of money on selling the prints, bummer deal. Someone still wins a really cool tattoo shop. But I set the number to 2,000 prints so that if 2,000 prints sell prior to July 21st, 2021, the raffle date will be set 60 days from that date. So the raffle could happen earlier. That's just a way to speed things up and also try and contain the amount of people who can be in this raffle to where everybody has a little bit better chance of winning. So if I sell 1 million prints, that'd be absolutely amazing and great. But there's going to be a lot of people who are probably a little bit disappointed because they wanted to win the shot. The nice thing is you're buying a print, so no matter what, you're not walking away empty-handed. It's not like going in the casino and putting your money in a slot machine and hoping that you win. This is like you're buying a product. You have something that's tangible, that's coming to your house that you can hang up and look at and enjoy. And you're getting the chance to win a super epic prize. Like it's a pretty major thing. I feel like I'm pretty excited about it. And I've never heard of anybody doing something like that, raffling off their business.
Me neither. So, it's like you said, I mean, it's super intuitive and everything. And I mean, yeah, kind of you were saying earlier, nobody loses. I mean, at the absolute minimum, you bought a fucking sick print. I mean, you got a cool custom piece like that. And, at best, you might win a tattoo shop.
That's absolutely right, man. And also, here's another thing. On each of the tickets that come with the prints, there's a $10 gift certificate on there too, because we're not closed. It's not like we're closed and waiting for this raffle to happen. Like we're doing business up until that date. So that's another thing. Like if a print's $50 and you come in and get tattooed, really you only spent $40 on the print because you're getting that $10 off. So that's another incentive. Like in another thing for people to not walk away empty-handed in this at all. Like, really, everybody gets something out of it. Which in business, like becoming a business owner, I feel that's really one of the most important things is for the transaction to be mutually beneficial. Like that's just good business.
Oh, seriously, man. So when you say that the entire shop's going, that means you're talking the artists, the equipment, contacts, the building, licenses, the whole shebang, right?
The whole shebang. It's basically like you're winning a turnkey business. Like all you got to do is if you're a tattoo artist, all you have to do after all the legal stuff's taken care of, which is about the same as renting an apartment, what you'd have to go through to rent your own apartment. It's pretty similar. Honestly, if I can do it, pretty much anybody can. But if you're a tattoo artist, all you'd have to do is come and turn on the open sign, have your inks, needles, and machines, and everything else is going to be here. And keep the Yelp's already established, the Google's established, Facebook's established, all that stuff. Like you'll have walk-ins that day. All you have to do, turn on the open sign, you're going to make money that day. That's why this is such an epic opportunity for people. And like I said, I've been in the industry 14 years. It's not a long time. It's not a short amount of time. But I've worked with plenty of people who worked with for people who weren't tattoo artists, who are like, man, if I had my own shop, if I could have the money to start up my own shop and everything like that. This is leveling that playing field to where any artist could now have their own shop. All they have to do is have to legally be able to sign a lease. That's pretty much it. So, yeah, and then come in, turn on the open sign, and enjoy the walk-ins, man. Don't muddy up our Yelp too much. I hope, like, I hope whoever wins it, they push this place further than I've pushed it and make it better than I've tried to make it. That's really the goal. I know that there's going to be opportunists in this. There's no way around that, and I'm not hating on them at all. This is a huge opportunity for them as well. But if I could choose the destiny of this place, obviously it would be to go to someone who really cares about tattooing and wants to push it forward.
Well, fuck yeah, man. I mean, as you should be. It sounds like you've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, a lot of hard work into this shop because you built it from the ground up. What are you going to be doing after the shop's raffled off?
So the whole reason for all of this is my wife and I are having a baby next month.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Supposedly on the 25th, but I hear those dudes show up whenever they want, so we'll find out. We're kind of crossing our fingers for Halloween. We'll see.
Oh, hell yeah.
So after the shutdown and everything, I mean, family's always been important to me, but after the shutdown and everything, it really drove that point home for sure. So my wife's family's in Pennsylvania, and then my father passed a few years back, but my mom's in Florida and my grandma's in Florida, and this will be my mom's first grandbaby. And so we've been talking about it, and we just want to be closer to family is really the main thing. I'll still be tattooing. That's my goal. I think I'll probably tattoo until I die or have to get robot hands or something, whichever comes first. Maybe not always as a career, but definitely for fun and as a hobby and because I enjoy the art form. So the plan is to try and move by 2022. That's the whole reason for the raffle and the date that it's happening. And after we move, will I open a new shop? Will I go to work for somebody? I'm not really sure yet. It depends on the climate of wherever we end up. Are there a lot of shops there? Are there some really good reputable shops of people who I'd like to work for? Or is it somewhere that hasn't really been established and could use a quality tattoo shop? So that depends. But I've been in Vegas since 2013. So if you're good at public math, you got that number. And I have a lot of clients here. So I will definitely be coming back to tattoo them. And all my clients have been asking me since I've launched this. They're like, how am I going to get tattooed? How am I going to get tattooed? And I told them I'm going to be coming back. I'm going to make a goal to come back minimum once a year, at least, to tattoo my clients, if not more. Hopefully I can come back every other month and do like a week out here. Plus it's Vegas, man. Who doesn't want to? Yeah, once you don't live here, it's great to come visit, You're like, yeah, I do want to go party on the strip instead of just work. But yeah, so I plan to come back and tattoo them. So that's another positive for whoever ends up winning the shop, is that I would like to come back and guest spot in my old home. It would be the most convenient for me. My clients know where it's at. Everybody's comfortable here and everything. So yeah, after the shop's raffled off, move and keep tattooing and try to pay visits.
Well, fuck yeah, man. There you go. All right. In terms of art, so what's your favorite style to tattoo versus your favorite style to draw/paint?
Tattooing, I would say, man, I enjoy a lot of stuff. So you scope through my Instagram, it's kind of all over the place. There's realism in there. There's a little bit of traditional, a lot of comic booky style stuff, cartoony stuff. I enjoy tattooing old cartoons a lot, for sure. Not reinventing them, trying to do them as similar to the actual old artwork as possible is a lot of fun. I actually enjoy tattooing logos. sometimes. I like the geometrical work that's put into them, all the straight lines, how crispy everything has to be, to keep everything tight and from running into each other. Like I did a Sharks logo. It's on my Instagram and a couple others. The Sharks one was a lot of fun. Realism, I'm not real thrilled to do it. It's pretty stressful for me to do, but I do enjoy the outcome of it. I enjoy it when it's over and seeing it and being proud of it and being like, yeah, I accomplished that. Wow, I did those portraits and I feel like I nailed them pretty well. But my favorite, definitely like the cartoony stuff, whatever's got bold lines and bright colors. And then also sometimes like the computer animated look, that type of stuff's a lot of fun too. So like I did a Paw Patrol, I did a Marshall off of Paw Patrol on my artist Nick's leg, and that one was a ton of fun. And it wasn't like the cartoon version of him, it was the computer animated version of him, and that was a blast to do.
Oh shit, okay. So since you were kind of talking about digital there, and then you mentioned Procreate a little bit earlier, I'm guessing that you've had a little bit of experience drawing digitally as well as, on canvas/paper?
Yeah, I was all paper and canvas until when I went to school. We used Photoshop a decent amount, and when I played in band after that, I did the designs for our merch and everything. I used Photoshop for a lot of that stuff. When I got into tattooing, I'd use Photoshop possibly for like font and maybe to combine some elements, but most all of it was on paper. And then I switched over to Procreate 2016, and now most of my tattoo work is done on Procreate. If it's a larger piece, usually I'll get like a pretty rough sketch on paper just so it has nice movement and flow to it. And then I'll just take a picture of it, pull it into Procreate, and start putting all the details in there. It's a little bit nicer to be like, oh, I need to move the arm on this thing, and instead of having to erase the whole thing and resketch it and start all over. It's a lot easier to manipulate, which is nice and saves a lot of time. As far as doing art for the sake of doing art, I like Copic's pretty fun. I'm not super fluent in it. I usually stipple it, which is very time consuming, but also I think quite a bit of fun, just the tediousness of that work. And then I do a little bit of acrylic here and there, and that's pretty fun as well. A little bit more, if you were to take the graphic design aspect of digital art and then do it manually in acrylic.
Oh, shit.
If that makes sense.
No, I'm picking it up. That's you're very well-rounded. That's awesome. Have you ever experimented with mixing your own pigments or building your own tattoo machines?
Tattoo machines, yes. Mixing my own pigments, no, not really. Like I've made my own gray wash and I've made my own opaque gray set. That's about the extent of it. Like actually making pigment from powder and going through all that. I've never done that. I haven't jigged needles. When I started, though, the guy I apprenticed under, Andy Casali, the third over in Tennessee, when it finally came time for me to tattoo myself, although I had already done that as a scratcher, he gave me, I think it was like just a Spalding build-it-yourself tattoo machine in a box, just all the pieces, and he's like, build this, you're tattooing yourself today. And like, we really hadn't gone over any of that stuff. He's like, you can look at the way mine are put together if you need, but it needs to be done today. So I built it myself and tattooed a flying toaster on my leg, which was something he had me draw to get my apprenticeship from him. So I figured that was appropriate for the first tattoo that I did there myself. And then it ran like shit, burned a huge blister in the top of my hand. Luckily, the tattoo looked a little bit better than my hand did. And then after that, I hadn't really worked on machines for a while, maybe a couple years. And I started in another shop and we got into kind of trying to customize frames, just like rough them up, make them look cool and everything and change out coils. But not so much into the gearhead part of it, where we're like, oh, it's the capacitor's running this, we need this many ohms passing through this, the armature bar needs to weigh this much. Like, I never got into it to that extent. Nick in my shop here, he's a whiz with that stuff, so I'm very fortunate to have him here. When I was working with coils, anytime coils are so finicky, more finicky than women. So anytime there's problems with him, he would take them apart and tune them up for me, which was really convenient. But like I said, now I'm running the Inkjecta, and that thing's pretty consistent. Like, I haven't had any problems. So as far as building, not too much. I haven't worked on them in a while. I would like to get into it once I slow down a little bit in tattooing, just to refamiliarize myself with it and maybe learn the skill better and teach it to my child when they're the appropriate age to learn that type of stuff.
That's an awesome skill to learn, kind of definitely a parent-child bonding thing. I think that'd be cool as fuck. My dad never taught me how to build tattoo machines.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool, play with Legos as you're growing up and then eventually move on to other things. I'm not a real car person or whatever, but my brother is, and that's something that him and my dad always had, was working on cars together, building engines and painting. My dad did paint and body and everything. He was kind of a jack of all trades, but the main thing was paint and body. So that was something that him and my brother really bonded on, was like building older cars and painting them and everything like that. So like I said, jack of all trades. So him and I, we had a lot of artistic things in common, but as far as cars went, that wasn't something that we had. So as far as me and my son will go, hopefully that will be something that we can share.
Well, fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, you got to let them be whatever they're going to be, for sure, but it's always good to teach them a skill.
Definitely. So real quickly, have you ever faced discrimination and or prejudice due to either having a bunch of tattoos or when people find out that you give tattoos for a living?
I mean, maybe nothing major, though. I don't have hand tattoos, face tattoos, or neck tattoos. So it's pretty easy for me to look untattooed. But yeah, I don't think so. Usually when people find out that I'm a tattoo artist, like if it's someone from older generation, usually they're just curious. They're like, do they hurt? How'd you get into it? Just kind of the basic questions about them fading and why are old tattoos green and why do they use green ink? And it's like, well, it wasn't green. But nothing major. It was funny when I worked in one of the shops in the casinos here, is people would come and they would be like, so you live here in the casino and stuff? And it was just funny to me. It's like, yes, everybody who works in Vegas lives in the casinos.
Wow.
And then I think maybe the only major, or one of the other things would be, some people would be like, how do you make your living? Like, how do you earn enough money? And it's like, well, the tattoo industry, there's actually a lot of money in it. There's a lot of money there to be made. So some people just don't really consider tattooing an actual job. They think, oh, you draw pictures, that's like something for kids, that's fun, But they're not they don't relate it to like the 9 to 5. Oh, that's a real job, you can pay your bills type thing. Whereas tattooing, you can actually make a pretty decent living.
I have known some tattoo artists that they're not hurting, I've known lots, so it's a good field to get into if you're, the right person for the field. What advice would you have to someone who's looking to be a quote-unquote good client?
Don't listen to music on your phone without headphones, for sure. When you walk into a shop, realize that that's a business. That's not your clubhouse. That's not your fucking living room. Like, that's someone's business. Someone makes their living there. Someone's paying their bills from that place. Someone's providing for the family. Treat them like a professional in their place of business. Like, don't come in and disrespect people just because it's a tattoo shop and you think, ooh, it's edgy or something like that. And we'll give you the same respect. Hopefully. I know that I always try anyways. Like, if someone comes in and they're rude to me, like right away, I'm like, I don't even want to tattoo you. You know, like you're gonna be a dick to me. Like I don't owe you anything.
Damn
and
right.
Yeah, we do have to make money, absolutely, but we don't have to tattoo every single person who walks in the door, especially if you're going to be rude to us. And another thing that's really weird to me, and I think it, like I was saying, like treat it like a business, not your house, is people like put their feet up on coffee tables and just like weird stuff like that. Like we have a full body mirror right over here to my right, and there's a couch and a coffee table right here. And I remember this one time I put a stencil on a lady's leg, and I was like, go ahead and check it out in the mirror. Or that instead of walking over to the mirror and just looking at it, she puts her foot up on the coffee table. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And obviously these people also know nothing about cross-contamination too. It's like you're walking around in Vegas and then you're putting your foot on a coffee table. Like that's ultra disgusting.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just be respectful. Don't be disrespectful, you know? Like we're just because you're coming into our business, we're not instantly homies, you know? Like don't be rude to me. Don't treat me like I owe you something. And if you have questions, ask them for sure. Don't expect us to read your mind and know what you're thinking and know what you want. Like you have to give us some direction. So if there's like a minor list, I would say, be kind and courteous, come in prepared, have an idea of what you want and where you want it. That's a big thing. People come in and they're like, I want a tattoo. Okay, what do you want? I don't know. Well, do you know where you want it? I don't know. And it's like, okay, well then I guess I'll just continue drawing. And when you decide, let me know, bud, you know, but have an idea of what you want. And when it's time to get tattooed, you know, it's not going to be the most enjoyable thing in your life. So be mentally prepared for that. Bring a few things in with you, you know, snacks, something to drink, headphones. You might not like the music that's on, and we don't want to listen to your phone while there's music playing. It's super annoying. And don't come in with a million people, especially right now. Like right now is definitely not the time to bring all your friends in because it's your first tattoo or whatever. But luckily, we get a lot of good clients here. You know, every once in a while there's the random ones, but our return clients are some of the coolest people. Absolutely, you know, they bring us food. They always offer to pick stuff up on their way. You know, I have clients who I've been tattooing for a while, and we have a deposit policy. That's another thing for new clients is like understand the deposit policy. Each shop that may differ as well. But this client I had been tattooing a while, and I'm like, we'd already paid out the tattoo that the deposit was on, and it was something new. And I was like, don't worry about the deposit. Like, I know you're coming in. I know you're good for it. Like, we've never had any issues. And something happened, a family emergency, and they couldn't make it. I was like, it's understandable. I'm not worried about it. I'm not mad. And they're like, I'm going to PayPal you the deposit right now since I didn't put one down. And don't worry about it. And it's like, you know, like, that's the kind of stuff that you're like, okay, that client's fucking rad. Like, that person's awesome. They understand that this is an actual job. You know, like, we are making our living off of this, and it is important to us. And I didn't expect that, but it definitely made my day.
You know, that you take care of the clients that take care of you. I like that.
Yeah, it's very, very important.
Since this is the Ex-Girlfriend Tattoo podcast, in the first episode we kind of defined the ex-girlfriend tattoo as a tattoo that reminds you of a relationship, good or bad, that you're just not in anymore, you know? It doesn't have to be matching, doesn't necessarily have to have meaning or something you got for someone, but do any of your tattoos fall under that category?
Oh, the ones on me?
Yeah. Or, I mean, have you done any memorable ones that are ex-girlfriend tattoos? That too. So I guess either or.
Well, I've definitely done some tattoos that I could relate to relationships I've had. Like I've done the poop emoji on someone before, and I mean that could easily qualify as a relationship tattoo. But I also actually have, I think I only have one tattoo from an ex-girlfriend. It says IR Smart on my ankle, SMRT. But as far as other ones on my body where I was like, this one kind of goes along with that relationship. Not on myself. No, not personally.
Smart man.
What about you?
Me? Let's see. Yeah. So the first one I have is let's see. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that right there. It's from one of my ex-girlfriends. Oh, here. Let me just move that over to the webcam. Yeah, those lips right there. I got those just because she really liked, like, before I had a tattoos, like right there in the ditch. She liked kissing me there, and so she gave me a kiss there. I got it tattooed on, and I think we ended up breaking up like 3 months later.
Yeah.
And then there was, let's see, and then I have the for rent heart on my arm. I don't know if you can see that, but that one's not as good, but that was another girl that I just wasn't even really for her. I thought that having my heart for rent was funny, and she thought it was too at first. Then she got all pissy about it, so, I mean...
Yeah.
That one didn't last either.
She's like, I'm taking up the vacancy. Why are you trying to rent this thing out still, right?
Right? I mean, she thought it was funny, but I guess it was just because it was an insincere tattoo. It's going to be on you for life. And I'm like, well, I fucking hope so. I paid for it.
Yeah, you're like, if it's not here for at least 80 years, I'm going to be kind of bummed out.
I'm going to try to get my fucking money back,
Yeah.
Well, Caleb, thank you so much for joining me today. Real quickly, before we go here, anyone that you want to shout out while you're on the program?
Just my main guy here, Nick Tattoos on Instagram. Yeah, other than that, not too much. I guess I would shout out my wife. She doesn't do tattoos, but she does make silver jewelry, sterling silver jewelry, and it's on Etsy. It's Infinity Stones Co., like the Infinity Stone Gauntlet. Other than that, just shout out the website, man, for sure. WinATattooShop.com. Buy a print, get a cool piece of artwork, get entered for your chance to win Black Omen, which has been up and running for 4 years. Established clientele and all the social medias and everything like that will be fully stocked and ready to go for you.
Well, hell yeah, man. That's fucking dope. All right. Caleb, once again, thank you so much for appearing on the show today. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Austin.
Caleb, that was wonderful. Thank you so much again for an excellent interview. Congrats again to you and the missus on your new edition coming any day here now. Really excited to see where these next few years take all three of you. So usually I try to keep politics out of my show, even though I'm fully aware that my own views have come across on the show from time to time, but the US presidential election is on November 3rd, 2020. That's right about a month from today, so your vote counts now more than ever. Seriously, stakes have never been higher, so just go ahead in the next few days, please. I'm urging everyone, go ahead and familiarize yourself with the procedures for the state and county in which you reside, so that way you can make sure you're voting. Let's see. In fact, go ahead, just go to vote.gov. You'll find all the information you need there about registration, voting, what if I can't get to a polling, etc. Seriously, stakes have never been higher. Granted, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but I will say that in the past 4 years, I just haven't seen enough progress to make myself feel comfortable with a third-party candidate. And that's not saying I wouldn't endorse one or anything, I'm just not sure that right now they can win the election. And that's from someone who absolutely hates our two-party system. I'm just not confident that the third party is going to take it away this time. 4 years from now? Who knows? This year? I'm kind of doubting it. But then again, that is just one opinion, one voice. The whole idea of a democracy is to make sure that all opinions and voices are at least heard from. I did have a friend about 4 years ago during the last election who told me she wasn't going to vote just because she really didn't think that one person's vote would make a difference. And, I mean, normally I'd agree, sure, one vote isn't going to make a difference, yeah. But are you so fucking arrogant to really think that you're the one out of everyone, you are the one who didn't vote? I mean, seriously, fucking cut me a break, seriously. So please, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, just make sure you fucking get out there and vote. Alright, anyway, aside from the political doom and gloom, my boys down in Gainesville, they've been really busy during this quarantine. Less Than Jake released their new single, Lie to Me. That came out yesterday. Please go ahead, check that out. Alright, once again, thank you, Caleb. You can go ahead and follow him on the social media. He's at Caleb Cashew. If you're interested in taking over Black Omen Tattoo down in Vegas, yeah, you're gonna have to buy a print from him at WinATattooShop.com. At the absolute end of the spectrum, I mean, you might be walking away with your own fucking turnkey tattoo shop. I mean, everything's already done for you. You get your own fucking business. At the absolute worst, you end up with a fucking badass print. Seriously, no losers at all. You can go ahead and follow me at one handy dandy link. That's campsite.bio /exgirlfriendtattoopodcast. Alright, well, hope you've enjoyed. I'm Austin Larson, and this has been the Ex-Girlfriend Tattoo Podcast.